Picture this, it's 10 p.m. You have a massive stack of documents on your desk. Maybe it's a research for a book you are writing, or critical files you need to review before a major morning briefing. You take a sip of coffee, open the first page, and start reading. But by the time you're at page 3, you realize something terrible. Your eyes have been scanning the words, but your brain completely checked out a page and a half ago. You have to start over. So, if you have ever felt like reading is a slow, painful grind, I have good news. You're not a bad reader, you're just using the wrong operating system. You are just using the wrong operating system. So today we are breaking down Norman Lewis's classic book, How to Read Better and Faster. And we will be looking at why the habits you learned in first grade are secretly sabotaging your speed today. Welcome back to the channel. So, the Normal Lewis flips a massive myth on its head. The massive classic myth that reading faster ruin your comprehension. He proves that reading faster doesn't ruin your comprehension. In fact, fast readers actually understand more. Why? Because they absorb whole idea instead of getting bogged down by single words. So why the fast reader they understand more? Because they absorb whole idea. This is a very important thing. We need to absorb an idea, and this is the advantage to the fast readers. They absorb whole idea instead of getting bogged down by single words. So today let's look at the 3 childhood habits you need to break immediately. So the habit number 1 is sub vocalization. Remember when you learn to read by sounding words out loud? In our childhood days, when we learn to read by sounding words out loud, most of us never stopped doing that. What change we have done? That we have just moved the voice inside our head. We are not voicing it loud, but we are speaking it inside our head, and that is sub vocalization. And here is the problem. Your brain can process information at incredible speed. But if you say every word in your head, you cap your reading speed at your talking speed. So this is what you're doing by voicing out every word in your brain. You are just capping your reading speed at your talking speed. And this is what creates the difference. Our brain has this incredible uh, capability of processing information. It can process information at incredible speed. But if you'll say every word in your head, you are capping your reading speed at your talking speed. And the advantage our brain had, the advantage of processing information quickly, that is being compromised. So, this is the first bad habit, that is sub vocalization. And now, coming to the second bad habit, that is regression. This is that anxious tick where your eyes constantly jump backward to reread a sentence you thought you missed. And this habit, it not only does destroy your momentum, but it actually hurts your understanding because you keep breaking the author's train of thought. You are reading something, then again you are, you know, going back, you are jumping backwards to reread the sentence which you thought you have missed. And how this is affecting your speed? Because it's breaking that author's train of thought. And now coming to the third bad habit, that is the tunnel vision. Tunnel vision. That is word by word reading. If you look at every single word individually, your eyes are working overtime. And this is further compromising your reading speed. So you have to leave these three habits. You have to abandon these three habits to become a better reader or to read faster than the speed at which you are reading today. So now what are the solutions which are offered by the normal Lewis? So normal Lewis says that first you have to read in thought units. You have to read in thought units. Instead of seeing words as isolated islands, train your peripheral vision to take in chunks of meaning. For instance, this here I have a famous courtroom speech of Howard Roark from the book Fountainhead, which is around 800 pages, big book. And this is his famous speech, the courtroom speech. Usually, we have seen that how some people read, they will read it like thousands of years ago. The first man discovered how to make fire. He was probably burned at the stake he had taught. So he is reading every word, every single word. Then he is taking a pause. So this is hampering his reading speed. This is bottlenecking his reading speed. So what normal Lewis says that you should read in thought units. And how? Let's see. Thousands of years ago, the first man discovered how to make fire. He was probably burned at the stakes. He had taught his brothers to light. He was considered an evildoer who had dealt with a demon mankind dreaded. So, this is how you are reading something as a thought unit. So, this is your first thought unit. Then, the first man discovered. Second, then how to make fire. Because this entire idea is a sentence that how to make fire. He was probably burned at a stake. Spot stake that he had taught his brothers to light. He was considered an evildoer. This is a thought unit. So when you will read like this, then you will see a drastic change in your reading speed. Now coming to the next point, next way to improve your speed. The second, you need to read like an investigator. Lewis calls it this as active reading. This is active reading. Read like an investigator. Don't let the words just wash over you. Attack the page with the question. What is the author trying to prove here? What's the main argument? When your brain is hunting for clues, your eyes naturally speed up to find the answers. For example, let's take example from this, the courtroom speech of the Howard Roark. So Roark's speech is dense, multi-page manifesto on objectivism, altruism, and ego. If you read it passively, letting the word just flow over you, your mind will almost certainly wander. And if you read actively, you must interrogate the text before you start. Instead of just reading, you give your brain a specific mission. I need to find exactly how Roark defines a parasite. Now, because your brain is now hunting for that specific contrast, your eyes will naturally accelerate the build up, through the build up and lock precisely onto the core argument. So let's see how the active reading is done in this courtroom speech. So you see here that thousands of years ago, the first man discovered how to make fire. He was probably burned at stake. He had taught his brothers to light. He was considered an evildoer. So what right now I'm pronouncing it just for you to understand. But what I'm doing, I am just capping my comprehension or reading speed to my talking speed. So at max I can go to 150 or 250 words. So I should not do that. I should not read. I should not voice it out loud when I'm reading. I should not cap my reading speed to my talking speed. Then, when I'm reading it as thought units. So I'm reading it, I have read it all. So, in active reading, I told you that we need to question that what this text is trying to tell me. So here in this speech, I am looking for the answer that who is parasite? What is parasite? What is creator? As per the Roark. So I'll do that. So here when I reached here, so here I found the answer. The creator, you see here. Nothing is given to a man on earth. Everything he needs has to be produced. And here man faces his basic alternative. He can survive in only one or two ways, by the independent work of his own mind or as a parasite fed by the minds of others. So I am going to find the parasite. The creator originates, the parasite borrows. The creator faces nature alone, the parasite faces nature through an intermediary. The creator's concern is the conquest of nature, the parasite's concern is the conquest of men. The creator lives for his work, he needs no other men. His primary goal is within himself. The parasite lives second hand. He needs others. Others become his prime motive. So this is the key idea I was looking for because I was doing active reading. And now here the third thing is coming into play, that is shifting gears. So a master reader doesn't read a 5-page philosophical monologue at a single static speed. You must adjust your pace based on the density of the paragraph. So here when I was reading it, when I was reading it in the beginning and I was doing the active reading in this speech. So what I did, after reading first 3 or 4 lines, I just realized that this is a historical context, that thousands of years ago the first man discovered how to make fire. So here I will go at a very fast speed because it's just a historical context. I'll just absorb it, and lot many things are already there in my mind. I know, okay, man was there when he discovered how to make fire. He was considered as an evildoer. So these things are already there in mind. Just Howard Roark is just it's creating a foundation for his idea. So this is not the basic idea. So basic idea which is going to talk about, that is somewhere deep in the deep somewhere at the middle of his speech. So when I reached the basic idea, just I was looking for the difference between creator and parasite, then I'll have to slow down. This is shifting gears. I'll have to slow down. Then I'll have to read it slowly so that I could grasp the main idea, the prime idea of the speech. So, this is how a smart reader enhances his reading speed. The first technique is leave three habits: subvocalization, then seeing words as isolated units, then jumping back over and over, which breaks that author's train of thought. So these are the breaks in your reading speed. And how you can polish it, how you can improve on it, that first you have to leave these habits, then you have to read in the thought units, you have to do active reading, and then you have to shift the gears. You should have a variation in a reading speed where you find the key ideas given in the paragraph. You have to slow down so that you can grasp everything. So this is the crux of reading better and faster in Norman Lewis's classic book, How to Read Better and Faster. Thank you.